Welcome to the Strategic Travel Entrepreneur. My name is Rita Perez. Hello. I've been a travel advisor for over 10 years and am navigating this winding road of entrepreneurship with you. I created this podcast because I wanted to share all the things I've learned from leaders both in and out of our industry that I really wish I would have known way back then. But alas, the important thing is I'm aware of them now, and I want you to be too. Ready for this week's show? Let's jump in. Hello everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I have some special guests with us here today. So this is part 2. Last week we talked about effectively using social media to help grow your business using a case study, my actual real social media clients that we've worked together for about the past year. Not only are they social media clients, but they are actually family to me, which it makes our working relationship very, very nice. So, and this is also going to be very beneficial to you guys as travel entrepreneurs, especially if you work primarily, like one of your main businesses is working with the Walt Disney World product, because they serve your clients. So if you are hoping to put amenities together for your own clients, gonna pitch them out here to them. They are 2-chef mission, and they do amazing boxes, platters. They can do on-site meal delivery. They can do on-site personal chef cooking for your clients in the Orlando area. So without further ado, welcome to my friends, Tony and Melissa.
Hey, how are you guys?
It's great to be here.
Yes. So we've kind of had like a very interesting year.
We have.
It's been a great, crazy year.
But it's been nice. It's been great to work with you, and I just feel like we've gotten a lot accomplished within our social media goals and where we want it to go.
Right. Before we started working together and before the pandemic happened, because I think like that was a big thing that shifted how you guys operated your business.
Yes, that was huge.
Like, what would you say how was revenue and how was business coming in? Like, maybe not give exact numbers, but would you say you were in the same place as where you're at right now?
Absolutely not.
We're totally not in the same place.
It
was 100,000% like night and day, right?
Oh yeah.
We also weren't in. I say similar market, but not the same market.
Right.
Because we
were
shifted.
All hit drastically.
We've shifted and grown. We've always been in like the hospitality market of like food and culinary and things
Especially
like that.
Here in Orlando.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it was a bit more attempting at the online situation versus live.
Yeah.
But we also still did on-site where we would
some
go and
in-person
cook.
events,
Where we'd go and cook for you. We also did some of the like personal chefing where we would go and prep
like a week's worth of meals or something
at someone's house and things like that. So, and then also a bit of the meal delivery. So like, it was one of those like bouncing back and forth sort of situations. But I would say that like revenue wise, it was very much touch and go with that, where it was like
not full-time income.
Of course,
no, not even. I wouldn't even say it was part-time income, really.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it really like.
It was like barely getting started.
Yeah, as much as like 2020 hit everyone so hard, like it. I don't think anyone would want it to like be like, oh, it was great. It wasn't, but like on some level, certain parts of it were a blessing in disguise.
Right.
Because it definitely gave us that time to fully focus on where we were going, and then also put us in like the perfect zone of what we are now, which is more towards vacation meal delivery.
Yeah.
Right. Which that I wanted to kind of like get into that too, because it's almost like it fell on your lap. You guys both have professional chef experience, either from working in lots of different restaurants or getting like educational background.
Right.
And had been trying to make things work in the business, but it wasn't until
And the
pandemic hit.
Well, a big part of that actually was because for the beginning of 2020, when I was working back with the Walt Disney Company. You know, everybody was kind of in the throes of what was going on with COVID. Nobody knew what was happening. I mean, there's a lot of speculation in even my restaurant when I was still working there of, you know, who they were going to lay off, how the process of laying off was going to happen, how many weeks we were going to be away before we came back. So we all talked about that openly. But it wasn't
no one
until...
expected it to be as long as it was.
Right.
Like, it was like, oh, we're going to be back, like, next week.
Right.
Psych.
Mine was 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah. But it wasn't until Disney officially put out notices to the leadership and to the unions to let them know, hey, guys, this is how we're going to be handling it. And because of one of their plans that they wanted to do with those people who were potentially going to be laid off or displaced to a different role, I couldn't accept that role change. There's no way it was going to work. And I'm not necessarily going to dig too deep into that.
Right.
But the benefit of being laid off ended up giving us the opportunity to be put in front of the market that we're in now.
Right, because how did that happen? Because I talked about last week how you guys are in the perfect group because that's where your ideal clients are at. So how did you know, and how did this kind of opportunity to be part of these Disney groups come to be?
Well, I mean, the biggest opportunity was that Tony was a laid off cast member.
Yeah.
So that, I will say, like, allowed him to post in the group. Because that's the only way you're allowed to post in it.
Right? This particular group, you have to be a laid off or displaced Disney cast member.
Now, but I will say that the ability to kind of fall into place of where we were as like vacation delivery zone, I don't think that would have happened if not for the fact that we had done so many different iterations of our business.
Right.
Because we started
2017. Yeah.
So Two Chef Mission started 2017. Yeah. We're in 2022.
5 years.
So yeah, 5 years.
So, and the thing is like, that's where it's like, it's not our beginning. So that's the thing. And it wasn't even of course it's still early on, but like the first, so 2017 to 2020, it was 3 years of us figuring out where we're going.
Right.
Yeah.
So within growing all of that, we already had sort of built a situation of meal delivery, that kind of stuff, like doing on-site things. So it was already like, okay, well, these are things we enjoy. Okay, these are things that are being looked for. And then we had kind of a bit of the experience where it's like, okay, well, we can shift to this, and then it just kind of all like popped into place, and it was like a puzzle piece,
right?
Final piece, and it just grew from there.
Because it really started November of 2020 was really when we got situated into that puzzle piece.
The thing is it could have been sooner.
Oh, it could have been a lot sooner.
But I think things happen for a reason, right? Yeah. You know, like, I think both Tony and I are those people that are like, everything happens for a reason. Like, there's things that you're like, okay, well, this could have been different, but, like, I'm not going to regret any of...
Or dwell on it, yeah.
Because it's just, like, regretting, like, oh, maybe leaving Disney a different time or whatever. But, like, looking at all the things that changed and grew and, like, how much we developed ourselves, it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
So... it gave us a bit more time to kind of see what was going on. But the upside is that, like, so when the whole, like, displace or layoff happened, it was a lot easier to be like, okay, well, a layoff is something that could happen because we can grow in this zone because it's, like, the perfect place for us.
So how did you, or what were the first kinds of posts that you were posting in this group?
Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it was Thanksgiving, so it was November of 2020. Okay. Basically, it was small introductory posts of, like, who I am, who we are as Two Chef Mission, where I worked, and basically what we were offering. From there, we just kind of threw it out there like, hey, I'm Tony and this is Melissa. We own Two Chef Mission.
Yeah.
we're doing Thanksgiving, and
we cooked for about
7 people. It was like
7
to 10 people.
I think it was less. So it was more like in the 2 to 4 range, family wise, for the first year.
Yeah, but
for the
like
first
individuals, it was like 7 to 10 people. Yeah,
you're right. Last year, it was like 69 people
in total. Yeah,
I remember that.
That
we were
was
just like,
crazy.
what?
Fun fact, I was doing deliveries on Thanksgiving for them.
Yeah, we appreciated that for sure.
It was great. It was so like that jump in itself is like, what?
Yeah.
In a year.
Yeah.
And that's it's kind of like so it's gone from like more towards the like searching for people and having to be like, okay, maybe this or maybe this is gonna grab people, and then now it's just like we have people coming to us, because they can easily find us and see where they need us, which is great.
Right, because you would also say right now, it's not like you guys do post pretty much to stay visible within the groups that you're a part of.
Yeah.
But you would also say, because you've told me this before, those posts aren't as amazing as people who are like
raving about us. Yeah.
Exactly.
Of course, but word of mouth, like
It's crazy how big word of mouth is as a market, and it's the best way to market.
But if you think about it, right? Like our business has grown pretty much by word of mouth.
Entirely on word of mouth, yeah.
Because we haven't paid for advertisements. We
on
haven't
Facebook or
done
Google or anything.
Right.
Because it's not as lucrative as people just posting because they like what we did.
Right. And that's one of the things that I had mentioned last week is that you have to make yourself visible to like the right audience, and then you have to do a good job for the right audience so they do become the raving fans and do your promo for you.
Now, I will say that like, is it going to be like that all the time? No. I would say no, because I feel like you're going to have like what I was talking to Tony about like a day ago is like you're going to have a dry season where you're not going to have, people are still going to love your stuff. Right? You're still cooking for them. You're still doing everything. They're going to be happy with it. But they're not necessarily going to rave about it online. Because, like, I mean, we all have good intentions, right? I've ordered from a number of people, and I'm like, I'm going to post online. I'm terrible at posting online. So I've posted none of them, and I'm like, ooh, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, we got to put that good juju out.
Exactly, but it's not that I don't love the things I've gotten, right? But we're not all great at being like, do the thing. Right. Social media is not my forte.
Yeah, because I was going to kind of like segue into that.
Like I'm segueing it for you.
Where last year, you guys were getting pretty busy. That you couldn't keep up with maintaining relationships via social media.
It wasn't. It was not even so just rough. That. It wasn't even just that, right? It's like, so.
These are the growing pains where like you're either gonna have you don't have enough clients problem, or you have too many clients that you can't focus on the other things that need to happen to keep your business alive.
Well, it's not even it's that, yes, but also it's like, is that your zone of genius?
Right.
Because I can tell you 1,000,000 trillion%. Social media, not my zone of genius.
But it's like, even if you were to look at our personal pages,
right?
Not you see, like, we don't post anything on social. It's like we like or we share something.
Yeah. Not even that. It's like
I share stuff.
You'll share
periodically,
stuff, but it'll be about like, this is what we cooked, or our kids.
Look what we did
from behind, because we don't post them on social media really.
What is like it? That Stewart skit from Mad TV. That's what I can do.
Yeah. But so the thing is it's like, that's where we've also gotten to be able to grow into the like, this is my zone of genius. These things are not. I should pay someone to do them.
Right. Yeah.
And we did try someone like
I was going to ask about that too.
Another advertising or not like advertising agency.
It wasn't an advertising agency, but it was an agency that did like social media, Instagram and stuff, because they would do.
They also basically did full website redesign and like everything.
So the thing is that
that didn't go well.
I was going to ask, so what's the difference between like working with that agency and working with me?
Well, I would say one of the biggest differences is it's a lot easier to be able to communicate with you to get the points across of what we're looking for specifically. Whereas when we were dealing with that other agency, we basically had to jump through like 3 or 4 people before we can finally get to one person who was like, okay, I can adjust things on how it's posted.
Well, also, it was like, they were supposed to post on a schedule, and you sort of selected the schedule. So you're like, okay, this is what I do. This day, this day, this day, and this is sort of the theming of our post, right? We're food.
Around X
it's going to be around food, that kind of thing. And there were days that didn't get posted.
Yeah.
And timing was weird and stuff like that. So it was just like, okay, well, this is great. There were a few posts that were pretty okay, but for the most part, you like slapped shit together and was just like crappy.
Yeah.
So like you took my words from my website and a picture that I never would have used and put them together, and that's my post. So to say I was pissed off
would be an understatement.
So if you take anything from social media and things like that, and what you should do is find someone who gives a shit about your business to work with.
I was going to even say, because I remember the post that agency had done before, and like every single call to action was like, and if you need our services, call us here, call us here, call us here.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it was very like salesy, but there was no like interactive, like, you know, like you want people to communicate on your post kind of thing, like so,
and be vested in your business.
You know,
and I think that's a very big thing, especially when it comes to like hospitality, the service industry, is you want to be able to show and have people want to communicate on your posts. Because now working with you, we've gotten a lot more engagement. We get people
the word.
We get people who are asking about stuff when they see the pictures. We get other people who have used our services in the past.
And they'll rave on
they'll rave on the comments as well. And the way that you build the social media posts end up working out better with the fact that it's more geared to actually creating engagement and actually creating that sense of community camaraderie, people coming together and talking.
And
the other ones weren't.
Well, it's also like it didn't start out that way either, because you kind of had to like...
There were growing pains.
Yes. Right. So like, because remember the quotes.
Yeah.
Where it's like, they were cool quotes, but like...
They weren't very engaging.
They weren't engaging because they're kind of boring.
Yeah.
But I think we only kept that for like...
a month,
maybe 2. I feel like it was pretty quickly changed. Yeah, because we were like, these are not getting engagement, other things are.
Right.
And the thing that I recently was saying is like, there's ones that are really great quotes, but we could also tie them together with our services or picture, to make them make more sense.
Right. Yeah, because I think that, especially for myself, has been like a really big learning for both my travel business and my support business, is that call to actions are probably even more important than the posts themselves, because they get people to do something. And I think like for me now, I cringe if like somebody just posts a picture of something, makes a little caption, and there's no call to action. Well, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to follow you? Do you want me to share this post?
Yeah.
Do you want me to buy from you? Like, tell me to do something.
Yeah.
If it's a blue balloon, hey, do you like blue balloons or do you like green balloons? Like, tell me, give me something to do.
Yeah, and the thing is I think a lot of people don't always want to pay for the service of using a professional, right? But the thing is that you could grow so much more through doing that. Because for us, like, using you, I don't have to worry about my posts.
Yeah.
I don't have to freaking worry about any of them. And not only that, I can send you pictures of the stuff we do, and you figure it out. All we have to do is tell you what we cooked.
Yeah.
And
I would honestly think that before people can jump into using a service for social media posts or online posts and getting those interactions and engagements, they have to be willing to take the risk, because they never know how it's going to work until you use it for at least a month, 2 months, I would say tops.
Yeah.
Is really like that maximum window of time where you
would
see what works and what doesn't work
Right.
with that specific advertising company, person, individual, whoever you end up working with.
Yeah. I think it's also important that you know who you are and what your business does and what you want to be focusing on. Because I think that has been really...
go with your business.
Exactly.
That's a big one.
That has been really helpful because I know now, having worked with you, like the talking points that I have to consistently hit every month of writing content. So there's a lot of gratitude. There's a lot of talking about special dietary needs because you guys do that so well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, we've been pivoting a lot recently to do more of what you guys really love to do, which is those on-site meal services.
Yeah.
So we've been tapering off some of the breakfast boxy things. And even though you still offer them and we promo that every now and then, it's really been trying to promo your meal delivery and then cooking on site for clients too.
Yeah. And those are really big things because I can tell you the number of times that we've had clients who've used us and they're like, that meal in our room, in our resort room or in our rental room, or like our rental home, was probably one of the best meals that they had coming to Orlando, bar none, because at the end of the day, they didn't have to go out. They didn't have to wake up or get everybody dressed and get them all wrangled up, especially if they're coming with kids.
Right.
Because that's a huge thing that people are like, oh my God, I have to get all the kids ready. I've got to get like everybody out the door at a certain time to meet our reservation, to go and wait, to do this and that and the other.
Right.
Whereas if you just hire a personal chef to come to your home or resort, as long as you got a full kitchen, they can just come in at the time that you guys agreed upon and just get right to work.
Go ahead.
I was like, and I think the thing is for us, like, that's where, like, a huge part of our passion for the culinary industry is in that zone, because we will create, like, if you want to give us, like, okay, this is sort of the theme I'm going with, or I want this cut of meat, like, we'll create an entirely custom menu for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Which I think
that's tailored to
flipping
exactly
amazing.
that. Yeah. And we've created a lot of really fun things because of that. Like the last onsite we did was really fun.
Oh, that was really
and
cool.
they loved all of it.
The kids, even at that, the kids that were at that onsite specifically wanted to sit down in the kitchen and watch me cook and wanted to see me like, okay, what's that? And they had questions for while I was going along. And it was funny because the parents were like, we're so sorry. We hope this isn't too much of a bother. And of course, you know, me and Melissa have kids of our own. Now they're not as old as those that were at that onsite.
Wyatt's like always wanting. Like, it's funny because
oh my God, so curious.
You were cooking dinner or something, and Wyatt wanted to. So he was like cutting zucchini and getting to learn how to.
I was teaching him how to, like, okay, this is how you have to cut it safely, and you know, you got to be careful.
He's gotten a lot more interested in that because he was in the kitchen with me one night where he was standing and watching cooking at the stove and stuff.
Yeah. I was gonna add in too. I think a really good other conversation from working with you is like, you know who you guys are as business owners and what direction you want your business in. But I think mindset, because I think this will translate to the travel business owners too, is that you're not afraid to charge what you want to charge for your services. And you're okay when people are like, well, that's just too, okay, well, you don't have to work with us.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think
but that was a muscle that had to
it was
grow.
Totally a muscle. Totally a muscle. And not only that, but like you learn so much from like
when you start
all other things, because like we didn't again, we, like, you know, other backstories, we didn't necessarily, like, we've always, like, our whole professional career is culinary, right? Yeah. But we also did network marketing at one point, right? Which, you know, whole other thing. But the thing is that when you're in that, like, you also learn, like, you're gonna get no's, and you need those no's to get to yeses.
Right.
So, like, certain muscles within that, like, translate into everything else within a business. So, like, for us, when you say no, I'm like, awesome.
Yeah.
Next person, because you're not your target market.
Right.
So the thing is like, for us, we're definitely not, like, well, I don't know if we're the highest, but, like, so I don't think we're the highest on, like, some of our numbers, cost-wise, pricing and stuff. we're definitely not the lowest because
you're a premium service.
Because I'm not
For sure. I would say that.
Because it's like I'm not giving you cheap food.
Right.
No.
So, and not only that, like we
apologize for the dog snoring.
a little grumble dog. She's always so grumbly. But we know
what
our
worth is, yeah.
Right.
And we're not afraid to charge that. Because that's actually, entrepreneurs starting out, right? That's usually one of the first hurdles you're going through. Mm-hmm. Because there's people who want to pay for your services, but then there's people who are like, oh, well, why is it this much? And it's like, it's this much because I have over 10 years of experience professionally doing this thing, and I can do it and you can't.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, even still, it's like there are some people, let's say, that's the big one. There are some people who, let's say, at the end of the day, they don't want to. Mm-hmm. And I was just thinking about some of the books that we had read, and this was back when we were doing network marketing. We were doing a lot of investment into ourselves and reading a lot of books. One of them was GoPro. And there's one section in there where he specifically says,
oh yes,
delegate it if you don't have
if it's
the time, or if you don't want to, like, figure out what your time is worth per hour.
Right. And if you're willing to, so for instance, yard work. Is it worth me taking our yard is big. Yeah. Is it worth me pushing a lawnmower and
for
and not
2.5 to
Tony,
3 hours,
pushing like 3 hours of lawnmower, or at least like an hour and a half or so with a riding mower,
right?
That kept breaking.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, is it worth him doing that for that many hours, or is it worth it for me to just pay a company
X amount per month?
And not only that,
to
but
come out and do it.
So not only is that me being like, okay, time versus money, where I'm like, okay, I'm paying for it, which thank God, because we have 2 children.
Yeah, there's no way I would have had the time to do it.
No way, no way, we'd have a forest.
Right.
But anyways, but it's not just that, but we're also supporting a local business.
Yeah.
Amen.
That does yard work.
Yeah.
And so you're not just, it's not just like, oh, well, paying things. You're also supporting the economy by paying someone else to do a service for you.
Yep.
So you're putting money out into the universe to then bring it back to you.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was just about to say that. Basically,
because that's
basically it's like putting the money out there to somebody else, and then you're going to reap the benefit and the reward
for it. It's like a potential networking opportunity.
But see, yes, it is. But it's also the interesting thing, because there's a lot of like people, you know, the whole like network marketing thing. Like, there's people who are just like for it, against it. Like, I think there's great companies, but I will say that time of our lives grew our mindset like so much. I feel like that was like our time frame there. Like it was mindset. Last year was exponential growth.
Yeah.
Like, this year we're working on expansion.
Yes. Yeah. So kind of before we like get too wrapped up, because I'm like, oh, we could go on so many different topics.
So much.
Oh, we could go for a while.
That you guys are strapped for time, so that's why you primarily focus on social media. Yes? No?
I would say,
as opposed to like getting out into the community and meeting other people now.
I would definitely say that is definitely the case. Like, I'm an extrovert, to be 100% frank. If you can't tell, I'm an extrovert. I love talking to people. I love meeting new people. So when it comes down to it, for our business, like, I do like 90% of our deliveries. There are some times where we end up needing somebody else to come in and help, just because, you know, we may have, you know, so many deliveries within the day that I'm like, okay, you know what, you take the nighttime deliveries because I want to be home with the kids. But I would love to be able to go out and do like networking opportunities and meeting new people. Like, that was my whole area when we were doing network marketing.
Well,
and I met a lot of people.
And when we first started
doing
this, because we were doing like
networking, meetups.
Well, and it was more like weekly meal delivery kind of thing and stuff. And trying to find our place as 2 Chef Mission. Yeah.
But it's like, you know, finding out, and this is another thing, like, understanding your personality type and understanding how to take advantage of yourself without overexerting yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because, like, in that sense, like, we did have a conversation recently where it was like, I don't feel like Tony is in a place where he thrives because we haven't been doing the networking and stuff, because he hasn't gotten to go, like, there is an upside because, like, with deliveries, he does get to interact with people. So he gets to go and talk to clients, guests, and people around.
People at the resorts.
The connecting with, like, different businesses or other people has not been there, and that's, like, something that, it's just, like, friend group.
Yeah.
That's something that, like, we're like, okay, we do need to grow this area.
Yeah.
Because with COVID, plus with having 2 children,
Right.
our life got crazy.
Yeah.
Because, like, what, 2018, and then we had Wyatt, and 2021 Elias, like, you know, plus pandemic.
Yeah.
So it's, like, all shoved into there. So we have, like, grumble dog. We have 2 kids that are under 5, right?
Under 4.
Right.
Under 4, because Wyatt's not 4
Yeah,
yet.
at the recording of this.
But but the thing is, like, your life totally changes and we're business owners, so it's...
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's part of, like, the evolution of, like, you find out what's working. That's, and not that it's not working anymore, but
it totally
what
is.
you're, like, saying is, like, we need to keep the momentum going by meeting new people.
Exactly. So, like, because social media, you're only gonna... It's not that you're only gonna grow as much as you are, but you're only gonna make the connections as far, because it's online. It's a computer. It's,
Well, you have to meet people in person or at certain events, and then get them on your social media.
Yes.
So that they can keep up with you and what's going on in the business.
And so that's where...
Or you just have to be the person that basically posts your life on social media, because like I said earlier, like we're not the type of people that do that. There's some people that if you post your life, you can definitely get more people who can connect with you. But I say yes or no, because social media isn't really showing your life. It's showing your, like,
the highlights.
Life.
Right? Oh yeah, the quote unquote life.
Like, this is my amazing
Unless
life.
you're truly authentic and kind of, like, do put, like, when there's pitfalls that are happening.
You know, but a lot of people, that's where social media, you think you're seeing people's middles and stuff like that, and as opposed to what the beginning was.
Well, and that's a really good point that you put too, because I will say, like, last year on New Year's Eve, we did celebrate the fact that you were a 6-figure business, and by 6 figures that means, like, sales. That doesn't actually mean profit. I do want to put that out there, because I know there's the whole, like, 6-figure business, but you got to break it down. Like, that's the sales, but when you take out expenses and all that.
But I will say, hitting 6 figures for our business was pretty freaking cool.
Heck yeah.
No,
and definitely a celebrating moment.
Oh yeah.
Because it was definitely a lot less every other year.
So it was a really big jump.
Yeah.
Oh, it was huge. Like, last year was our biggest year since we had opened our doors. And again, I'm just so excited about what's going to happen this year and everything within social media that has helped grow that.
Yeah.
It's been huge.
Yeah, and kind of stepping back to where you were talking about, like, focusing social media, I think one of the biggest reasons why social media is such a great tool is the reach. Because you're not able to necessarily connect on, like, a deep level with people, whereas, like, with
100,000 people.
But you can reach so many people at once, which is why it was such a massive tool for us. Because, so like I said, with the taking someone's middle to your beginning, right? Not wanting to do that, because the groups that we are able to post in are over 200,000.
Right.
So that's very much like a middle
one group.
So, there's a different advantage to that.
Exactly. So, like, you have to also realize what your audience is and can be, because like, you have to get to that.
Right, because that's you're in the groups where your ideal client is. Like, you would not be in Golfers Anonymous or Destination Bridal groups.
Definitely not.
Or, like, you wouldn't be at Gardeners 101, because that's not... I mean, they could be there.
They wouldn't like our garden. I just weeded it so that we could plant herbs.
Right.
But it Not a pretty garden.
It's a
Not
pretty sad
that's
garden.
a work in
organizations group. Like, you have to find
you
like
have to
where
find
you are logistically, because I think like
Yeah.
that helped too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's where it's like the puzzle pieces, right? You have to find the right puzzle pieces and put them together.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, because obviously with personal development and things like that, mindset, all these things, you also like podcasts, listening to podcasts are a great tool, but like you've listened to so many, like all of us have, right? So one of the things that we've learned is that like within your business, it's gonna take like 7 to 10 tries of your business to figure out where it needs to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, it's funny because we listened to this podcast and then we were like, let's think about this. And then we were just like, okay, recipe club site, meal prep, meal delivery, recipe, meal plan thing. Okay, what about the, and we kind of went back and forth with, okay, back to meal delivery. Okay, we tried to do another online thing. We tried to do like podcast sort of stuff, which actually we really enjoyed podcasting. And then it was like vacation meal delivery. And you're like, oh, that was like 7-10 things.
Iterations after.
Ironic that it's spot on.
Well, and I think, because I recently heard somebody say, like, you have to stick with something for 90 days and just sell that. And I was like, as somebody who's in the travel business, I was like, I wish more people would say that, because in the travel realm, like, we're selling all-inclusive, we're selling FIT Europe, we're selling cruises, we're selling all these things, so people don't really know what to come to us for.
Yeah.
So, like, me personally, I have, like, narrowed down my niche to retreats and group trips on cruise ships.
Yeah.
Whereas you guys have narrowed down to breakfast boxes and on-site personal cooking.
Yeah.
So people, like, know what to go with you for, like, once you've narrowed down. And I mean, we were even strategizing the other day because you guys have this beignet course that's coming up. And I had said, I was like, okay, we just got to focus on these 2 things.
Yeah, for
and not
sure.
get carried away with other things, because we don't want to muddy the water up too much.
Yeah.
And still have you guys known for these 2 things.
My goodness.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, it's once you really, like you're saying, once you really like focus it down and find out exactly what it is that you're best suited for and best in your industry, focus on that and just go with it, run with it until you hit that success that you want, or keep going with it until you end up finding another area that you also want to build simultaneously.
Right.
Because right now, like, we've very much grown our muscle within like vacation meal delivery, and that's why like this year is expansion in the sense of us wanting to add on different streams of income.
Exactly.
Right. That's where like our online course comes in.
Because we do really want to have an online
component
to our business. Because one of the biggest things is like, you know, obviously like I don't think anyone's expecting like another pandemic, right? But the thing is like that was a huge thing that completely altered business, where having something online
would have been helpful. And I'm not even saying
helpful.
like pandemic, but even like this talk of recession.
Yeah.
What's another? But multiple streams of income came after you got really good for over a year at what you were doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah, and you have to, you can't be like, I'm going to have 6 streams of income right this moment.
Right. Yeah.
That's not realistic, and it's setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
But the fact that we've created one very strong stream, it allows us to then start adding other areas.
Other components. Yeah. Because I think that's what kind of like everybody eventually wants to do, is be good at their one thing. So on this podcast, it would be their travel business, and then how can you grow that travel business? Do you do travel consulting on top of travel advising, or do you create an ebook on the 50 best places in Southern Africa to visit, or whatever it may be?
Or like ebooks on like some of your top favorite places to go in traveling tips.
Yeah.
Which is totally a thing. Or, you know, like blogs. Right?
Yeah.
There's so many things. Or podcast.
Right. There's so many different ways to monetize.
Yeah.
Well, I think we have talked about a lot of different things, how it kind of like started with social media, but there's so many other facets of marketing your business and staying visible, including the whole mindset and having confidence in yourself and sticking to one thing, that I hope this has been very beneficial, because this has been a great conversation for me. So if you want to learn more about their services, head on over to twochefmission.com, and I'll link them up in the show description. But Tony has gone to tend to the kids, but thank you, Melissa, for being here and sharing some of your story. All right, everyone, you guys have a great week, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for joining me on The Strategic Travel Entrepreneur. Please subscribe and leave the show a rating on your favorite podcast platform. Oh, and don't forget to take a look at the show notes for important information and links. See you next week.